feel like that's a bit windy. Yeah. You know, so, but he's a donkey. The guy's a donkey.
Twitter all the time. He's on his yacht all the time, but guess where he's not? In the ring fighting me, so he can talk all the he wants, but the notorious MMA is scared of Jake Joseph Paul from Disney.
People are just really hating right now. Like the haters are running wild.
Okay, wait, so...
But yeah, let's do it. You're going to become WWE champion.
I think so too. I mean, bro, the ultimate goal...
He's like 34 or something.
I think he's like 32, maybe 30.
That's old.
31, 32.
That's old. He fits.
Had a bit windy, yeah, now south, but he's a donkey, the guy's a donkey, yeah, Twitter all the time, he's on his yacht all the time, but guess where he's not? In the ring fighting me, so he can talk all that he wants, but the notorious MMA is scared of Jake Joseph Paul from Disney. Jake Paul just decided to publicly humiliate his upcoming opponents with one Instagram post. That might as well come with its own fireworks display. People are just really hating right now, like there's the haters are wild. Ever since he managed to beat Mike Tyson, he's been acting like he's some kind of walking jackpot, as if fame and fortune rain down on anyone brave or dumb enough to step into the ring with him. Okay, wait, so, but yeah, let's do it. You're going to become WWE champion. I think so too. I mean, bro, the ultimate goal, the arrogance is off the charts, plastered all over his podcasts, videos, and any promotional stunt he cooks up. And it's not just his opponent he's roasting, he's taking aim at the biggest names in the game: Mayweather, Conor, Khabib, the whole lot. But what did he pull yesterday that was next level ridiculous even by Jake Paul standards? He's like 34 or something. I think he's like 32, maybe 30. That's old. 31, 32, that's old. He fits here. I'm talking about Jake Paul's Instagram post that was a masterclass in chaos, the kind that blends shameless arrogance with just enough genius to make you hate how EFF5 it is, posted by Most Valuable Promotions, aka Jake Paul's personal hype machine MVP. His brainchild operates on a pretty simple premise: make Jake Paul impossible to ignore, whether that's through viral stunts, outrageous trash talk, or the kind of content that leaves boxing purists clutching their pearls. And this time they absolutely nailed it. The post had Jake grinning like he just solved world hunger, standing front and center with a literal bag of cash on full display. Subtlety never heard of her. Behind him was the pièce de résistance, a hilariously exaggerated waiting line of boxing's biggest stars. He kind of went right down the list of joking he's kidding. You're not supposed to believe any of that to be true. Think Ryan Garcia, Floyd Mayweather, Von Davis, and Conor McGregor, all drawn up like cartoon characters desperate to get their golden ticket to the Jake Paul show. The audacity was off the charts. Floyd Mayweather, a man who casually rakes in GDP-level earnings from exhibition fights, being depicted as if he's groveling for Jake's attention. Conor McGregor, who probably has an entire garage just for his yachts, waiting in line like he's at a DMV. It was absurd, over the top, and exactly what Jake wanted: a mix of outrage and buzz. Now let's not pretend MVP stumbled into this brilliance by accident. This is all part of their playbook. Jake's entire persona hinges on this idea that he's the one everyone is chasing, the walking payday, the human lottery ticket. By putting out a post like this, MVP is doubling down on the narrative that Jake Paul is the new gravitational force in boxing, the guy everyone wants a piece of. And while the execution might have been borderline ridiculous, the strategy spot on. People are talking, debates are flying, and Jake is doing what he does best: staying in the spotlight. How much money could you reasonably walk out of this fight with? $350 million. Yes, you love, I know you love money, right? I mean, it's cool. What do you do with all this money? You know cash is key. Do you have an ATM card? I'm the human ATM. But here's the kicker: do legends like Mayweather and McGregor actually need Jake Paul? Floyd Mayweather is sitting on a $450 million fortune. The man literally calls himself money and has been printing it for years, whether it's through mega fights or just grinning at events for a hefty appearance fee. He doesn't need Jake Paul's cash stunt theatrics to stay relevant. If anything, fighting Jake would be a novelty act for Floyd, not a necessity. Then there's Conor McGregor, whose $200 million net worth is bolstered by everything from proper number 12 whiskey sales to business ventures that keep him more than comfortable. McGregor doesn't need to join Jake's circus. He's been on the biggest stages and doesn't have much to gain by stepping into the ring with a YouTuber turned boxer. No matter how loud the buzz is, sure, the fight might sell, but for someone who's already shared a ring with Mayweather, Jake Paul isn't exactly a career highlight. There's a chance That Conor McGregor will not fight again for the UFC. I don't know, Conor McGregor's got a lot of money and anytime we get Conor we'll be happy, be thrilled when he comes and fights. But here's the twist though, Jake knows this, he knows these guys don't need him and he doesn't care because the post isn't about facts, it's about attention. Jake Paul thrives on controversy. On playing the villain, on making people argue about him. He's not just poking at one boxer, he's swinging at the entire industry, proclaiming that he's the guy who matters now. And the wild part, it's working. Love him or hate him, Jake Paul knows how to make you look. And I'm sure you've heard about his next fight being with Conor, and it's not because Conor needs him, it's because it's Jake's childhood dream to fight him. For months now the internet has been buzzing with whispers of a potential showdown between the YouTube-turned-boxer and the Irish MMA icon. It all started back in 2021 when Jake launched his trademark trash-talking campaign aimed squarely at McGregor. He mocked Conor's loss to Dustin Poirier, challenged him on social media, and basically tried every trick in the Jake Paul playbook to get McGregor's attention. And while Conor mostly ignored him, credible insiders suggested that some behind-the-scenes talks actually happened. I understand that, but the engagement that you gave to Conor by I got to assume he was kidding. It was so outlandish. He was kidding. Ariel Helwani, the guy who knows everything about combat sports, hinted in early 2023 that there were informal discussions about this fight. But let's be real, the hurdles were massive. For starters, Conor's fight purse demands were astronomical. Jake's boxing resume wasn't exactly impressive in the eyes of hardcore fans, and there were scheduling issues on top of that. McGregor was still healing from that brutal leg injury he picked up against Poirier in 2021, while Jake was busy building his boxing career by fighting a mix of retired legends and MMA veterans. Timing wasn't just off, it was a disaster. Then there's the UFC factor. Conor is still under contract with Dana White's Empire. And if there's one thing we know about Dana, it's that he's not a fan of his fighters stepping into boxing rings unless there's insane money on the table. Think McGregor versus Mayweather levels of cash. And let's face it, Jake's record of boxing retired MMA fighters and YouTube stars wasn't exactly a convincing pitch for Dana or McGregor at the time. He doesn't do what Conor couldn't. I think it only makes sense for him to want that money fight, but I just don't know how serious he's taking fighting. But let's not kid ourselves, this fight isn't dead in the water. If there's one thing Conor McGregor loves, it's attention and a paycheck. The size of a small country's GDP doesn't hurt either. Jake, meanwhile, thrives on creating chaos. His constant taunts, from calling McGregor washed up to dragging his personal life into the spotlight, could eventually push Conor to take the bait. And let's be honest, McGregor stepping into Jake's world would dominate headlines for months, which is exactly what both of them live for. The question is, if this fight happens, is Jake Paul setting himself up for the most embarrassing moment of his career? On paper, the odds aren't in favor. While Jake's been improving as a boxer, let's not forget that his most notable wins are against guys who were either out of their prime or new to the boxing scene. Conor McGregor, by contrast, is an elite striker. He spent years at the top of combat sports, going toe-to-toe with the best in the world. Sure, his recent MMA record hasn't been stellar, but boxing is about precision, timing, and IQ. All areas where Conor shines. Just look at McGregor's 2017 fight against Floyd Mayweather. Conor stepped into a completely different sport and still managed to hold his own for several rounds against one of the greatest boxers of all time. That's not something you can ignore. Meanwhile, Jake's never faced anyone remotely close to that level. If he goes up against Conor, he's not just risking a loss, he's walking into a master class, and he's the student who forgot to study. Say you just got to be voted so, but I just think made I. And then there's Conor's mental game. McGregor doesn't just fight opponents, he breaks them mentally before the bell even rings. From Jose Aldo to Eddie Alvarez, Conor's been in the heads of some of the toughest fighters in the world, and it shows. Jake might think he's the king of trash talk, but Conor wrote the playbook. If these two ever square off, Jake could find himself outmatched long before the gloves are even laced. The physical side doesn't favor Jake either. Sure, he's bigger, but Conor's speed, precision, and ability to create angles make him a nightmare for someone like Jake. Jake's strategy usually revolves around size and power, but against a fighter as sharp and explosive as McGregor, that might not be enough. One well-timed counter from Conor could turn the fight into a highlight reel for McGregor, not Jake. Makes sense for him to want that money fight, but I just don't know how serious he's taking fighting at all. I don't know how serious the fighting world's taking him. Like, who knows if he still has that same appeal. And let's not forget Jake's overconfidence. It's his trademark, but it could also be his downfall. Jake thrives on the belief that he can beat anyone, but that kind of arrogance doesn't work against someone like McGregor.